Hello everyone, it's Duckfairy07 and today I'm playing Black-White Scum with addition of Scion of Draco and Leyline Binding package. So this package is very powerful at the moment, doing well in a lot of different lists, and it has been so easy to incorporate it in the lot of these two-colored existing strategies in modern. So I did this with the red-black and the blue-white scam versions. You can check that out on my Twitter and soon on my channel, the other version too, probably. But I think I've done perfect mana base for the black-white version. The triumphs are just ideal here. We have shock pairs for these triumphs, fetches, basics, everything just works perfectly in this mana base. I'm very happy with it. I'm still doing the mana base for the red-black version, trying to perfect it. This one works much better for now. So, okay, so let's check out this version. We have a Leyland with the Guildpact, and I have been doing really well so far with the builds using the Leyland of the Guildpact and spells that can pitch cast the extra copies you draw, like Subtlety, Force of Negation, Grief, Solitude, whatever. All of those work great with it, and especially these scam versions means that you will always have a very powerful turn one play. It will either be like scam turn one scam grief or turn one leyline into Thoughtseize or Ragavan or if you have like Leyline plus Scion, that just wins you the game against a lot of decks. It's especially good against Rhinos, especially the Teamer version. They only have like Boseiju to deal with it. So I've been doing very well with those type of builds at the moment, and the scam versions also kind of focus mostly on those early gameplay, but having so much synergies and so much strong starting combos in a deck like this can be really effective. So when you pair this with the strong threats, cheap interaction, and just overall good cards, it works very well. I think this strategy can be very powerful, but still has to gain some popularity. Okay, so Sheoldred Edict, another very good card at the moment that should be played more. This card it's good even without the Leyline Scion thing. It just works very well, lets you kill a lot of hard to kill creatures and even planeswalkers. So I always play like 6 1 mana spells that help you scam in the blue-white shells. I always like two Thoughtseize instead four in the blue black white variant. Stoneforge has gotten much better with the addition of Cryptic Coat, and we have also one Caldra there and one sword on the sideboard. And yeah, that's obviously having a domain mana base means you can play different cards, but I still like to have a lot of black and white cards to be able to scam grief and solitude consistently. That's also why the sideboard is all black and white too. And that is it. So let's check out the sideboard quickly. Three ley lines on the sideboard too means in the matchup where they matter. I often like bring in three Leyline of the Voids and keep three of those in. So there's just a high chance you will have one of the ley lines in your starting hand, which can be very impactful in those games. So very kind of happy with that setup. Thoughtseizes, Edicts, more of them in the sideboard. A temporary lockdown, I think one of best white sideboard cards in existence at the moment. Very useful against a lot of decks like Scales, like Hammer, like Yagmoth. Also good against Rhinos. It does a really lot of job. Okay, so let's go and check out the gameplay. In match 1, I will check out the wins first, as I always do, then defeat later. So I keep a hand where I can scam a Grief on turn 1 and go for Stoneforge on turn 2 if I draw a land. Obviously, that's really powerful. Here, I'm playing against a Tron. Opponent doesn't have any big spells. Lands, which can be obviously be great in their deck. So here I get the Caldra to get as good clock as I can. As I said, very happy with mana base. I have multiple options here, but I decide to get rid of their expedition map so they can get a throne. And yeah, I think that was a good decision here. Um, Now I put a Caldera on the field, attack them once more before they resolve the ring. They do get a throw now, and they did resolve the one ring, but I have Caldera, which is great against their Oblivion Stone, and they're losing life to the ring, so they have to deal with that too. It's not easy task. So here opponent goes for Stone. In response, I discard a card from their hand. It was Karn, so it was good discard there. I had to be careful to do it in response to the Oblivion Stone ability, and opponents can't survive Caldra attack plus the one ring burn, so that is the win in game 1. Let's check out game 2. Also, let's check out the sideboarding plan. I decided to bring in more Thoughtseize, keep the edicts to kill the planeswalkers, get rid of the ley lines. They don't play removal anyway, so they are not as effective. Okay, so I start these. Since I had two, I wanted to like just play the Thoughtseize again, get rid of the Sylvan Scrying. This was their hand. They had Ulamog. They find Ulamog there with steerings, and they had a bunch of mana. This means next turn they'll be able to cast the Ulamog. And here I was holding the Ephemerate in case they target my Scion. I can save one, but instead opponent targets my lands. So actually, if I draw a land here, I think I would probably win. I would be able to, I would have like 3-turn clock here. And I will be able to jump Ulamog easily with Bowmaster. So instead I had to block Ephemerate there to protect my Scion. And then I was hoping for a land again, but didn't get it, and yeah, that kind of sealed the game. Opponent was on 0 cards, but didn't have kills ways to kill my opponent available, so that was it. Okay, let's check out game 3. Okay, so nothing crazy here, but I'm playing first. I have double Scion. They can really pressure opponent. Not easy to get rid of. Opponent starts with Forest. That is also good. Means they'll definitely be at least a turn slower. So I go for Scion here. Start attacking, start pressuring. I can curve out pretty nice here. So turn 2, Thoughtseize plus Scion into turn 4, Grief. Seems pretty good. Nothing to discard, unfortunately, but opponent finds a Karn and I discard it right on time. Now I have additional threat there with Stoneforge Mystic and also Ephemerate I can use on Grief and instant speed in their draw step. Yeah, but unfortunately opponent finds the One Ring here. So, but they don't have much mana, they are way off the throne, so that is my chance. I played Stoneforge, get Caldra, hold Ephemerate, and in their draw step, I tried to go for it, but they draw another Dismember in response, so it didn't work. I have Caldra though, and I used the Unmoored Ego first to make sure I take care of their ability to get thrown, and I also use Thoughtseize to discard their second One Ring, which would maybe help them stabilize. And this way, they had to find a solution with the One Ring they had on the field, but since they're out of Tron mana, it's not easy to do. And yeah, I also have Stoneforge here, which is another big problem. So it is the game against Tron. Okay, let's check out match 2. We'll go to the wins first. Okay, so now I have the Scion thing. A couple of times I had a starting hands with both Scion Leyline combo and a Grief Scam. That's like absolutely crazy. Okay, double Scion here, plus the Leyline, very hard to deal with. I should have probably played Grief first here, but it's okay. So, opponent is playing the Company deck, probably Samwise combo, trying to just trying to pressure them and finish things off as soon as possible. Opponent goes for company here. I'm holding Leyline Binding in case they find a combo. I can try to stop it. But opponent didn't find anything relevant, and it was not necessary to concede here. They had Goose. Sorry, I have Trample, so it's they was not able with food token. So I have Lethal next turn, so that is the game. Okay, let's check out the game 2. Yeah, this is really nice. Leyline plus Grief Scam on turn 1, and I also have Solitude. This is just like super good. So going for a black land here and taking both of their cards there. So they only left with lands right now. I need only a second land to be able to play Bowmaster. I decide to go for Solitude the Halfling to remove their ability to play Company early. That would be like their best top deck at the moment. So I continue attacking with Grief. They're on 10 right now. I really need a second land to go for the Bowmaster. Solitude is also quite nice. Opponent here finds a Chord of Calling, and I was unfortunately F6'd, so I did not succeed to play a Solitude, Pitchcast Solitude in response there, which would help me like win the game immediately. But I was still in such a good position, it didn't really matter. Okay, so here I go for Solitude now, get the 2/2 attack things immediately. Okay, let's yeah, that was a win in game 2, and yeah, another quick win. Okay, so let's check out a last win in this league. Okay, so here I keep turn 1 Grief Scam, very strong. Also additional Ephemerate next turn, which can be pretty crazy. But opponent has a subtlety to stop me there. So I decided to top my Grief, I think. Opponent surveils, passes the turn. I draw my Grief, and my best hope, I think, here is just to hope to draw another black spell and then try to pressure my opponent with Grief. And yeah, I find another black spell from the top, and this means I can go for it again. I do the Ephemerate, uh, discard their Cascade spells, leave them with Curator of Mysteries and the Grief. So on my turn, they go for Pitchcast Grief. In response, I exile their Grief, putting my Solitude in the graveyard, which is like decent play, and they don't have anything to discard now. So this way I can continue attacking with Grief, pressure their life total, also have Solitude in my graveyard, so it's not over even um, if they resolve. I still have game if they resolve the living end, at least some. But at this point, have gotten a lot of cards, a lot of creatures in the graveyard, so it's hard task. Some kind of depending on drawing some more pressure from the top or them just missing the cascade spells. Here it is, a Scion for me. Opponent unfortunately has a subtlety. I put the Scion on top. There's just no much better draws from Scion there. So my opponent on 8 right now. Um, Another Curator digging. And here I go for Scion. Grief attacking here, just gaining me life. Um Making this not an option for the opponent. They go attack for subtlety. This means they probably find a cascade spell. And yeah, they found it. I was right. And too much cards in the graveyard now for me to deal with this. So opponent wins in this one. Let's check out game 2. Plenty of cascade hate on the sideboard. I have like additional Thoughtseize. I have Dranet Magistrate. I have Leyline of the Void, a bunch of good cards. So I get rid of the bindings, edicts, and ley lines for this matchup to bring in all the hate. I started with a turn 1 Thoughtseize into just a Bowmaster, waiting for them to maybe cycle something. But they didn't, so I just played the Bowmaster. Bowmaster can be good against their cycling, uh, making it like really quick clock. I can also just pitch cast the Solitude if needed, but my opponent here can play against. They can play around this, so I get to draw the Grief, discard Cascade card from their hand, leaving them with yeah, a bunch of not very good cards in this matchup, like Foundation Breaker. Now I put a color on the field, making my clock much better. This is now a 2-turn clock. Opponent has to find a solution immediately. Even if they do the living end thing now, I'm kind of better positioned. I have Grief and I can use the Solitude too. So, but opponent doesn't have a response there, and it's a game over. So let's check out game 3. I start off with the Leyline of the Void. That's a good start. But also have a double Bowmaster to pressure them. So it seemed like a keepable hand. Additional Thoughtseize is pretty nice. I discarded the Subtlety, leaving them with Grief in hand. Opponent opponent now has Grief. They discarded like one Bowmaster, but I have more. And now I also draw the Dranet Magistrate, so it's now really almost impossible game for them. Opponent has Foundation Breaker to kill the Leyline, but yeah, Dranet plus Caldra Clock is like really strong, and opponent concedes. That is the win against a Living End, and that are all the wins in this league. We are now going to check out this interesting match uh, when opponent played Infect deck with Leyline of the Voids and using the pump spells. That is also something I've wanted to do, so really happy to show this match. I'm planning something kind of similar. So opponent is using the domain pump spells. I should have maybe exiled this Leyline sooner. Opponent here tries to pump their Scion, but then I ephemerate my, so we trade like these spells for nothing. I play the Cryptic Coat. Cryptic Coat is sweet with ephemerate, something you can code something really impactful. In this situation, I got the Scion, but opponent gets back their Leyline, which is like insane, and they have a double pump spell. This is like pretty sweet. This is definitely something I wanted to try to, but here my opponent played this with in infected deck where they use these spells to kill you with Inkmont Nexus, maybe some other infect creatures, but they're mostly relying on getting the Scion killed. And they had it like quite consistently there. Both games, Leyline again, kind of good luck by my opponent. Here I had a Scion plus Leyline thing too. A bit late, it's not that good against them. Okay, so here my opponent in game 2 played Phyrexian Crusader, which makes my Leyline much worse. This is like very interesting uh, card to play against the Leyline tech. It just makes your Leyline much worse. You can't block this with anything. So now I had like Thoughtseize and I had the blocker there, but it was really bad moment for me. I didn't have much to do. So my plan was to put Caldra on the field, but I already have 8 infect counters, so they get to kill me with Inkpot Nexus. So that is a game over. Okay, so let's check out another defeat from this league. But yeah, really happy to show that last defeat because that is something I wanted to do. Something I wanted to do something similar to that myself. Okay, here my opponent playing the Leyline Zoo, and I'm really happy to have my Sheoldred Edict. I was also considering just going for the Grief to remove the Scion from their hand, but when I draw the Edict, yeah, that wasn't really necessary. So opponent goes for Scion here, and yeah, Edict is like really good. So I kill the Scion, pass the turn. Obviously they can have another one, which could be a problem. But the opponent goes for a Nishoba Brawler, and I draw another land, which is not good for me at the moment. And I was just hoping to trade a Brawler for a Bowmaster. Opponent, of course, can kill any of my creatures to prevent this. And they do this, so to grieve them, exile, discard the Tidebinder, and then next turn I have Solitude, which seems like a pretty good situation for me. So next turn I can hardcast the Solitude, potentially exile another creature, and before they top deck anything I decide to go for the Solitude immediately. Opponent does a bunch of fetching there, and but now they need something very good. I can start attacking next turn with Solitude. Yeah, this was obviously my opponent would not trade Solitude for Brawler, so I was not going to resolve the Cryptic Coat anyway. But maybe I should have just attacked with Solitude first. Okay, so I don't want to go to 5 life here, so I just fetch once, attack with Solitude again. My opponent finds a Leyline Binding. They also have a Giganta in hand. If they can get a land, that is like a really strong pressure that I probably won't be able to get out of. But opponent doesn't play Giganta, and I find Binding, which means I can just Binding the Brawler again, get my Solitude back, and yeah, so now opponent plays Giganta, so again I need solutions, and I one on time, and now I can start attacking with Solitude, getting into the safe zone. I need to go above 5 life to be perfectly safe. Opponent doesn't have tribal flames, so it's looking good for me. They go for binding here, getting back their Giganta. They're now on 0 cards. They kill my Solitude, but I get to survive another turn. Looking for a top deck, but yeah, in this top deck war, this time opponent wins. And yeah, that is the game. Let's check out the game 2. Okay, let's also check the sideboarding plan against Domain Zoo. So, getting rid of the Thoughtseize, I don't really want to Thoughtseize against aggressive deck like Domain Zoo. Getting rid of most of the Bowmasters, they're just not great against them. And here I start with a Scion of Draco. That's a good start. I have lockdown for cover or whatever, but they don't do anything. I can just hold Ephemerate to try to save Scion if necessary. And exactly that happens. So opponent goes for Tear Asunder. I save my Scion, play another Scion, and this is just like very, very hard situation to get out of, especially since I have a temporary lockdown for their smaller creatures. Okay, but they do have a Scion of Draco, which helps them a lot. Okay, I find a Sheoldred Edict again. A Sheoldred Edict great against Domain Zoo and great against Rhinos too. It's excellent card if you're bringing in the Cascade Hate. They will sometimes just win you with a Scion plus a Leyline, but Sheoldred Edict prevents this. And yeah, I'm attacking here with Scions. Opponent kills my Scions, but they can't deal with the second one. Attacking here again for lethal, opponent plays a jump blocker in sorry, they kill the Scion, letting them live. And yeah, now it's a top deck war, but my opponent is on 2, so I was hoping to draw more lands to hardcast this Caldra. Caldra is kind of hard for them to deal with. And Solitude, of course, from the top, really good top deck. I was thinking about just not exiling the Nekatel and then going for lockdown on my turn, but decided they probably have some interaction, so decided against it. Yeah, they had a Time Binder, so still not good enough. Here I go for the Grief, exiling, discarding the Lightning Bolt, so now they have a Bolt and a Force of Figure in their hand, which means they can take care of my Grief for the next turn, leaving them with only Force of Vigor. So I decided to force them to kill my temporary lockdown, buying more time to draw lands to finish them off with Caldra. And but yeah, of course they can play like Force of Figure instant speeds, and then attack me with Violent Cuttle, so I can't really use the Legion's End. Opponent plays another Violent Cuttle, but don't use Force of Figure. So I really wanted to kill both of Nekattles, if possible, with Legion's End, so I decided to wait a bit. And but in meantime, I know what my card opponent has is. It's a Force of Figure, so I top deck a land to be able to kill my opponent with Caldra, so I go for the kill, and that's it. So let's check out the game 3. the last game of this league. Really fun league, I think. So now I had Leyline Binding plus a Scion start, which is like really powerful. And this time, since my opponent is a Leyline Binding deck, I decided to put both of in the field. I had a Solitude there, but I decided it's better for me to just um, put both ley lines on the field to not let them use binding on it. And yeah, my opponent also has a Scion of Draco. I think this is like very interesting to situation to see for the viewers to see how do those matches end up. Uh, so both players have a Scion of Draco, and opponent is only on 2 cards. I have Solitudes, multiple Solitudes in hand, but they're kind of useless because I can't kill any of their creatures with it. Okay, so here my opponent finds Territorial Cow. This is a very good card in a situation like this, so you can attack over my cow. So opponent at the moment in a slight advantage, but I also find a Stoneforge Mystic, a creature that can stop Territorial Cow from attacking, getting my Caldra. Also Stoneforge Mystic has hexproof, so they can't really prevent me from getting a Caldra on the field next turn. And I was attacking here with Scion because I'm okay with the trade. If they trade, I immediately get to Solitude the cow. So, and also now I got the second Scion. So it got even better for me. Okay, so now here I a Caldra on the field, but obviously my opponent has a solution for it since they're attacking with cow. So uh, they find Tear Asunder, but I still wanted to spend a turn doing this. I'm fine with this situation because uh, I'm not losing life since I'm attacking with a Scion Draco each turn anyway. And also now I got a second Scion, which puts me in a considerable advantage. But opponent is definitely keeping up. They got the second Scion too. So I trade for the Scions. And yeah, so I put another Stoneforge on the field, getting the Cryptic Coat. I'm still very happy with the trade. If opponent took a trade here, I would definitely win, but they didn't. They didn't, and yes, so now they find a third Scion, which was definitely the thing that decided this game. I put a Cryptic Codes on the field. Opponent has another binding to get rid of it, so I can't attack. I can't really attack here. I do get a cloaked creature. So and now I can just double block a cow, get rid of a cow at least. So I scam Solitude using Ephemerate. And since all creatures have a first strike, I can trade my cloaked creature and the Solitude for the cow. And also I decide to trade with Scions and make their... I'm on 22 life here, so there is plenty of chances to find a solution for their Scion Draco, but it just didn't happen. I was just not able to find another binding, or is that the only solution? Not sure, but yeah, bunch of dead Legion Ants and Solitude in hand. So I did a bunch of these pretty mediocre plays. I went for the grief, they did the reprieve. Nothing in their hand, but they don't need anything. This is just enough. I just had a series of bad top decks, not getting anything relevant for the matchups, and they find pretty good cards from the top to end this quickly. So that was it. Game over, and the last game of this league. I have pretty big hopes for both this black white and black red versions of Scam, with additions of the Scion Leyline packages. The red one I played on the stream. It did well, but I think it was just variance. I played against some weird matchups. I was not really prepared to. Didn't have any sideboard cards for that. So there is probably some more work in tweaking this main and side. But I'm very happy with the performance and kind of power level I feel when playing this deck. Um, just a bunch of powerful starting hands you can keep. Um, Very hard for any opponents to deal with. Also, addition of Cryptic Coat is very cool, especially when you get to play the Ephemerate. I would maybe like to try more Cryptic Coats. Didn't really like the Bowmaster, but I kind of do need black spells for the grief. So yeah, there's more to think there, but happy with the deck at the moment. Okay, so thank you for watching. A friendly reminder to click like, click subscribe. Tell me how do you feel about Black White Scam with and without the Leyline Scion package. I think this package makes more sense. Helps you get another big threat in the deck that can finish the games very quickly, which is something the Black White Scam always struggles with. So having a Scion as a great finisher attacker that also combos with this stuff and enables you to play the Binding, which is just a very powerful card. I'm very happy with it. My biggest issue right now that Orcish Bowmaster feels so poor in the current metagame. So definitely thinking more about this build and what can be done. Okay, so that is it for today. Again, thank you for watching and goodbye.